little punishment.
It's on, I just seen it.
Okay. All right, good morning, everyone. We've come back from Budget Commission, and we're having this work session so we can have some discussion on a draft. I'd say draft 1, but I bet Stacy Wilson's gonna say it's her draft 3 or 4, because she gets all kinds of people calling her and pleading and begging and their cause and whatnot, and has to go after people who don't give her numbers and or who need to define their numbers. And so he's given us a draft budget. And we're meeting in this work session the purposes of discussing this. The anticipation sometime prior to the end of the year, we will pass our budget for 2017. So that is the opening. Who wants to start with questions on what? And this is a draft budget at a 16.2. We have a tick up better than that based on a certification we just got out of the Budget Commission meeting, which they approved 16.350. $16,350,000 is what Budget Commission just voted to certify for us, and we don't dare budget more than what they certify. From that premise, what's anybody want to start with?
Well, roughly, that would put us about 650,000 based on the preliminary budget, the draft, about 600, assuming the 150 more that the Budget Commission has allowed us, puts us about 650,000 over what has been allotted to us. Now, we need, Stacy and I have been discussing this, and we need to get clarification from the sheriff, because there's a pretty dramatic increase in his department. And again, it could be an error, or, I understand one of the issues that the sheriff's department is having is continued training, because they've got a high turnover rate out there, so they're having to pay extra money on training and so forth. And I think we need to be cognizant of that, as we are. I'm not telling my fellow commissioners anything that they don't know, but as we look at approving budgets and we look at raises, the economy is certainly appears to continue to be on an upturn, and the competitiveness of the workforce out there continues to be a challenge for us. And case in point with the sheriff's department, if we fall too far behind, people leave, and then we got new people to come in, and it dramatically affects our budget, because now we got training that we have to put on top of it. So with that in mind, we need to be very, very cognizant of our wage structure, and all the research that I've done looking at the surrounding communities, certainly of similar sizes, is in many, many, many cases we fall behind with the other communities are paying. So there are some advantages to this being my last commissioner's year.
Yeah.
I don't envy you, but we all have a responsibility here for the taxpayers.
Well, let's break down very quickly, if you will. Where are the areas? We obviously now have 16,350 certified. So you've got requests that are $650,000 beyond that. So let's talk about the biggest chunks and what resolution, if any, there might be to those.
Let's see, let me go to my individual sheets.
I mean, I have seen in part of it, which, we're doing a nice job here, you're doing a nice job, and, some of the miscellaneous areas where we have contingencies, we're able to get those down to what they actually were this year, or to a number that's less. So we've reduced the contingencies by almost 300,000.
And I do want to ask a question about that on the contingencies, because the economic development, because initially we had
50,000.
we had 50,000 we had agreed to with Mr. David Zach.
That's under miscellaneous, though, not contingencies.
Oh, okay, yes.
But go ahead.
That was a
You said
two-year
contingencies, then you said
commitment,
economic.
and this is the second year of that 2-year commitment, is it not?
We've already had
16 was.
16 was the second year.
Yeah.
So in the budget under the miscellaneous economic development, I had taken, just wanted to, so you guys knew, I took out the 50,000 since we did only agree for it for 2 years. So I wanted to bring that up to you.
Okay, it's page 5. You guys are gonna get a copy of the budget, page 5 under miscellaneous. Those things that are listed there, none of those are SIEDC, right?
On the,
On the miscellaneous area. I mean, the
Yeah,
professional
there's
services,
some money in there for EDC, it's just not the additional. It was
where's that money
the
at?
historical under the second to other expense economic development, is that correct?
there it goes. Yes, under economic development.
$70,000 in there?
Yep,
Yeah,
I had,
Who does that include?
that includes,
We originally contributed 20 towards that, and then we upped it for a 2-year commitment with an additional 50.
I don't know if it was 20 or 17, but we did commit
Okay, yeah.
the 50 for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Additional,
But
so
this
that was
is sec-
60,
this is-
so that was 65,
That was 15 and 16?
correct?
Not 16 and 17?
No,
Correct.
15 and
Man,
16.
man.
so in that
15, 16.
70,000, I have
Beginning of
the,
David's second year.
I've taken it back down to the 17,000. Now, prior to this board, probably '08 is when we actually cut it. We used to do 20 for SIDEC, we used to do 10 for Fostoria. And we had those big cuts in '08 is when we took it down to 17, and we took it down to,
Well, tell me what, in the 70, what else is included then?
okay, I have SIDEC at the 17, I have a Fostoria at the 8750. We pay Erie Basin, and then I had to, I guess that's another point of discussion, up the regional planning assessments up to the $42,558.75.
So that increase in assessments is in there from regional planning.
Yes.
So the majority of that 70 at this point is regional planning.
Correct. Last year, regional planning was 30, and this year,
gonna be-
that's with the assessments.
45.
Where do you see the regional planning thing at? What, is that under miscellaneous
That's
here?
under
That-
miscellaneous, under economic development.
This line here is the one she's talking about. She's giving the breakdown of the 70,000.
So, basically to take SIEDC back to where we had funded them, we're right back at the 329.5, or very close to that we were for 2016. Okay.
Here is,
As it turns out now, we're 40,000 less.
And you said previous to, you thought it was 2008, it was 20,000 and 10,000?
mhm.
So, even if we looked at least being able to round figures minus like last year we gave Fostoria just a little bit more and put them at, gave them 250 more or something like that because of all the work with the land banks, that kind of stuff, but
And I haven't had a request from Fostoria or SIDEC for next year yet.
no. And I know conversations I had with both of them was that, we're watching stuff, I don't know if you want to come over this way at some point, and that was in September, but I know they're also both truly busy. I'm not making excuses for them, but I don't know if they felt like they should come over and state their cases or not, but I know I did mention vaguely to both of them in September.
And if they, we can always do it out of carryover next year, we can put it back in the budget if they have a request. But yeah, I have not received a request yet.
Explain to me regional planning again, okay? What's our funding for regional planning?
Originally, it was 50 cents per capita, and Regional Planning Board had increased assessments by 25 cents per capita. So that's the difference, the 42,000 compared to the 30,000 we paid this year.
And then, of course, we have the sewer revenue, which is about $48,000.
Is it
Yeah,
showing your
that's it.
miscellaneous, which, because I can't,
The little box over there shows SIDEC.
okay, here it is, thank you.
Now,
Does that help at all?
Yeah, it does.
I know we do not approve regional planning's budget. That's done with the regional planning board, but we do contribute some towards that. I just personally have an issue with an increase of roughly 37,000 or 63% of their budget. If every department did that, we'd have real problems. Now,
We
we
aren't,
do
we aren't
not.
increasing their budget by that much,
Yeah, I understand. They've increased their budget. Now, from our contribution towards that, it has increased, but their
About
overall
14,000.
budgets went up 63%. I wrestle with that.
Well, I think you'd have to go back and look at the detail that was shared at the board meeting on the regional planning budget to see how it was justified through, and on a historical perspective, it's in line with where it has been over several years of a little bit deficit spending, but with some projected revenue to keep it within the realm. It's not 100% out of line, and so that, and as far as the per capita increase, we as members of the regional planning board had the opportunity to vote on there then, so that just gets passed along to all their constituents, you know, each municipality, village, everybody who's a part of regional planning, that board approved it, and that's the new rates. So I don't know that there's anything we do unless we wanna, you know, take the steps to remove ourselves from regional planning or something like that, which isn't an easy thing to happen. It takes a lot of months lead time, but that's just the way it has been, and that's another story, but.
Well, the only thing I have to say there is that, from a historical basis, it's within line, is that what we said?
There's been some deficit spending in historical basis
well,
of what
okay.
has happened with regional planning, anywhere from 25 to 35,000 over the last few years, if I remember without those sitting here in front of me, but.
I get that. Well, I'll say two things about that. One is, because we've approved deficit spending in the past, probably isn't a real good reason to approve it in the future. And two is that, we have for 2016, $131,000 budget there, and we're asking for 231, or have approved 231 for 17, and that is, as Commissioner Zorba said, a 63% increase. That's at least, after I've considered it, I did vote yes for it in the meeting, but after considering it, a 63% increase in anyone's budget in this environment is well beyond averages of any other departments that are trying to survive here.
I'd have to go grab those numbers to look at that to see your percentage, but we don't have a 63%. This is about our fee assessment in this line in our budget that we're discussing, and that was voted on by that board for that additional 25 cents. So that's the only part of this that we can factor in.
If you take that statement, that's true, then our assessments are being increased by 50%.
Correct, as everybody's was. Everybody's went from 50
For
cents
regional plan, no,
from
actually.
50 cents to 75 cents.
So, again, yeah, it's a 50%. 50% increase in assessments to regional planning, and I do have the numbers to memory. I mean, like I said, the budget for 16 was 131,000, and the budget for 17 is 213,000. Again, $37,000 negative budget after the assessments were increased by 50%. That's a real matter of concern to me. Right?
And that is setting, and that just, again, I don't want to get into the details of their thing without all those in front of us, but that is also setting aside that full
28
increase
but that's just
down the road for the,
that makes no difference to the percentages, because the 28,000 is on both sides. It's shown as income and it's also shown as an expense. So you remove that from both sides of the equation, the percentages remain virtually the same.
Again, I look at the power of the purse here, and while we don't approve their budget, that's approved by their board. But I have, some grave issues, as Commissioner Kirschner does, and then when we look at hiring an individual with $17 an hour, which is way over what we pay any of our other employees, I just kind of wonder, maybe we need to, even though we don't control that board, what we do is we do give them the ability to generate income through the sewer assessment, and we have found out in the past that we could handle that internally here for a substantially, we pay them roughly, about $47,000. We could do it internally here for about $15,000, substantially. So I know this is not the time to deal with that, but I do have a grave concerns with regional planning there.
I think if we're going to have more discussion on the regional planning, I think we have to make sure the regional planning director knows that we're going to do that in the discussion. I understand what you're saying about this point and the power of the purse, but our goal is to help and to aid as it is for economic development, and we want to make sure we're giving them enough money to do the things that they need to do, is the same with regional planning. It's a piece of that community support and so forth. So I just, we gotta look at it that, a little balance for all of them.
Yeah, you do.
We
Yeah,
gave David an extra 50,000 for a couple of years, and after the year one, we said, come back to us. He did, and we approved and we gave that, and we gave it to, just a little bit more to them. But again, that's across the board with a strategic plan in place now and a number of other things. And like I said, I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts, but about the position, it's not a clerk position. There's a lot more to that when you read that position description.
that-
There's a lot of
To
positions.
be very objective about this, if there are any other government-sponsored agencies, as I would refer to them as, that came to us for a request that was 50% over what they had been requesting in the past, and for them to tell us, whether it be economic development, Fostoria, Tiffin, whatever it might be, and then for them to tell us that their budget is increasing by 63% and asking us to fund additional monies. Again, just from a purely objective standpoint, that would be a very difficult decision. It would probably be a no in most cases. If anybody sat out there and said to us, I'm gonna increase my budget by 63% next year, and I want you guys to increase your assessment to us by 50%, so that I can have a deficit spending budget, that, given those facts, and those are the facts, it would be a very difficult decision for us to be able to approve something like that, whether it be regional planning, or Seneca Industry Economic Development, or Foster Economic Development, or any other entity out there that requested that. So I'm trying to be as objective as possible in this discussion as well. So, the $70,000 does not include, includes a, how much economic development in Tiffin, Seneca?
17.
17,000.
Yep.
And we don't have anything specifically from David at this point? Anything more than that?
No.
Okay. So, your thought was that later on we could take it out of,
I mean, if the
Carry over.
request comes in, if I don't get it by the end of the year, if you guys wanna discuss it and put it in, I mean, he's gonna see that in the paper that we talked about it, so he's gonna send
Well,
his request.
going back to the original reason for the question was, I was commending you
Yeah.
on the fact that we have some miscellaneous areas and some contingencies that are less.
Yep.
Which is a good thing, at least we're able to pick up some money there.
Yeah.
So, continue with my question then, so what are the other big areas of concern when it comes to increases?
For the increases, I think I had emailed you, Judge Myers' letter.
He actually emailed it to us directly.
Okay. And his request is, largely, is the youth center. He wants to increase his salaries for the youth center. And I can't see my screen because those books are in the way. Thank you.
Does that come under the domestic violence? No, no, I'm sorry.
Nope, that'd be his youth center. Let me get clear over to the youth center.
I got probate court on here, but,
Yep. And he's not taking it up. He's taking it up about 7.6% in his youth center, but like I said, his employees are making $10.50. He'd like to take them to
Right.
$11.50, and he's having trouble keeping employees.
Sure.
He gets them in, they get some experience, and then they move on to a higher paying position.
yeah.
Like I said, the sheriff's was a huge increase, but he is redoing his numbers.
Well, and again, we had this short discussion, but the disadvantage to doing this at this point, I guess, that you're not looking at a set of income numbers on the other side.
Right.
And from what I understand, there isn't really any correlating income to offset any of these.
The increases, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because he anticipated the 1.2 for 16, and I think the 1.2 is all he's anticipated for.
He talked about picking up some services in one of the villages, is there,
Potentially, they've asked him for a quote.
but that's not in the budget?
No. Well, it was in the budget, not in the revenue.
It's in the budget request?
Yes.
Okay. But it's only on one side of the budget request?
Yes, he didn't
on the expense
increase
side.
his, right, he didn't increase the revenue.
So we're gonna try to clarify what that might
Yep.
mean net,
Yep.
okay?
Hopefully it'll be either a wash or a
Okay.
Obviously, Veteran Services, they get a percentage of their millage, so they take the full percentage. So that would be, let me show you.
Historically, that, they don't spend all of that.
They do not,
Yeah,
no.
but you gotta budget the original number.
Yes, I do, yep. So, I mean, even the increase total was only 2.2% for the,
Right.
for the year, so.
And what is that figure, and where do they typically give back to the county?
I'd have to pull the expense report, I don't have that, but usually, they put their, I don't know what you wanna call it, relief allowances, they put quite a bit of their contingency amount, but I think they're planning on purchasing a vehicle. Let me see, relief allowance.
Grief allowance is down.
And I'm guessing, my copy
It's
and
the Medi-
pasted.
the Medicare is.
Yeah,
way
that's
up.
not right. So the relief allowance is actually the 68,000.
Okay, I was gonna say that makes more sense.
Yep, those two lines
Those two are
must be
switched.
switched, yep. Yep, I'll have to fix that. So the majority of that we usually get back.
Okay.
And I can get a firm number from what we got back last year, and I can even look to see where they're sitting at right now, but they do give quite a bit of it
Yeah, but
back.
again, from a budgetary standpoint, we have to budget it in,
Yep,
and we have to work out the balanced budget.
yep,
Well, if you were forced into giving us a budget today, this is a review one or for this board.
right.
What number would you be at? What number would you feel comfortable with? We got 16,350 certified.
Right.
Where would you be?
Well, initially, when I went through, if you see the center section on the budget I gave you,
Yeah.
that is with, like we
16,200.
did last year with the 3% or 50 cents, whichever is greater.
Uh-huh.
Let me scroll down here. So you can see the totals.
So, I mean, according to what you presented, then you were at 16,200, which is a $108,000 deficit.
Mm-hmm.
If we got 16,350 certified,
Well, you
you would
changed-
still be at 16,200, which would put
Yes.
us in a positive
You
position
changed
of
the-
$42,000.
Yes, and I took out, the reason it shows the 1694 is I removed the 150,000 for contingencies that, I mean, it's not a bad line to have money in, but that was a line that, previous commissioners wanted to set aside for the general fund and contingencies.
But you, I mean, you could theoretically at 16,350, add another 50,000 to that contingency and give us a balanced budget,
Oh, absolutely.
based on your recommendation at this point in
Absolutely.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's even
Increase the
including some of the
contingencies?
sheriff's increases?
That's his,
It's-
that
it's
would give
saying, yeah, put 50
2%
back in the
for his
contingencies.
union contract.
Okay.
And it does include, it does not include, the clerk of courts had requested an additional staff as a part-time staff for
See, it does
scanning.
not
Yeah.
include,
My numbers does not, it's in the wish list.
How much was that?
I think it was almost 20,000.
Okay, well, okay, let's go back to the original here. At 16,350, you're talking about a positive $42,000. We could go back to that wish list, and prioritize
Yes.
those items in there to
Yep.
be included to get us to a balanced number?
Yes,
Okay.
and I just have to do that because I was trying to stay under the 16.2, and that's when we
Okay.
were gonna have to break down which requests we were gonna make
I know, we must not go
priority.
through a litany of all those, but there are a
Okay.
number of items on that list that we could look at and consider.
Yeah.
for the
three of
wish
us-
list.
Yeah, the three of us could look at those individually and make our recommendations and then hopefully agree at some point. Okay.
I think we have to give some priority to those who are gonna work on their document retention
Oh, I do
factor that
too.
we talked
Oh,
about,
yeah.
because we
Oh, yeah.
publicly told them, working on that day, that we wanted to do what we could to help. I don't know that there's many that we find that that's what they wanted in any kind of increase for, but I think we have to struggle if they did. And if they didn't, maybe they're gonna come to us once they read that in the paper. And I, kind of a point back to, talking about what, for economic development a little bit is maybe, and I don't wanna necessarily change the whole process we do, I think Stacy, you do a fabulous job in using the historical knowledge that you have and going through and putting all these numbers together, we all would definitely agree on that. And I don't wanna, I know some counties do hearings and various other things, and there's a mixed bag of whether that's worth the time or not worth the time when you talk about that. But maybe some of these others who receive funding from us, even though they don't submit a budget to us, like Soil Conservation Service, OSU Extension, Economic Development Foster, maybe we ought to send them something as well, is, because it's not that we don't want to support, and I don't know if they don't want to appear begging or what, but I guess I think we want to think about what that notification, should they receive something formal from us when we're entering the budget time, like we do the department heads and other elected, just a thought.
I mean,
Keep it in the back of our heads.
We always, I mean, the department heads and the elected officials, that's our priority, because that's our budget, that's our priority.
Right.
If we extend to everybody that we currently give funding for, are we asking them
No,
to
I-
ask for more money?
No,
Or
I don't,
we-
I don't mean in asking to ask for more money, but I guess in the same sense, I don't wanna be slapping on the wrist saying, oh, you didn't come and ask, you know, so I
Yeah.
guess I don't know how, maybe there's something to rethink as we get into that next year, or just to think about making an improvement with.
Well, I
Like I
think there is some merit to talking to each of the elected officials, whether it be about budget or other topics, to at least have a situation in which, I don't want to require too strong a word, but invited to this meeting to have those discussions. We could do that in October or September, or whatever
Absolutely.
the time might be. But as Commissioner Stacy said, one of them was related to doing something that we asked, and that is to get files documented and scanned. Maybe there is a part of other people's requests, include that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing, because what we don't want to do is give a mandate out there that we don't fund.
Right.
And it would be a good thing to, I think, have the discussion, because we have some elected officials who are gracious enough to come here on occasion, and others that we don't ever see, so.
And as we go further with development, it's only been 2 years of doing the county strategic plan. A stage I thought we would get to by now, we haven't for a number of reasons, but not only having that strategic plan, but actually to the action items, and getting those action items, as I can say no better ways, thrown up on the wall, and really starting to commingle those in a priority order tied to the dollar factor. Because there's a lot of dollar factors in those, and that helps us plan accordingly for budgeting. Because we can have that strategic plan and until the cows come home, but if we don't tie it to making them happen, which is by the dollar string, then we can't put those in place, and we just have to get to the point of, which step has to happen before the other one makes the most logical sense, trying to move through. And because that comes up in play when we start considering grants, when we start looking at other means of funding stuff, whether we do or don't spend carryover once we're into the year, and all of those kinds of things. So hopefully we'll be to that stage in another batting with the strategic plan for the county.
Well, thank you for your hard work. We're certainly within the realm of reasonableness here when we get things approved. I assume that next Tuesday, we are ready to approve a final version of this.
Yep, I can make some adjustments today, tomorrow, and give you a new draft.
Perfect.
Review and
We'll
yeah,
have some
no
answers from some of the bigger discrepancies. so,
Yep.
Okay, good. All right.
Right. We have some lights.
Well, I like this.
Lights, action, camera.
I don't want anybody to go to sleep. All right. Good morning. I'll officially call this regular session of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, December 13th. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To join me for a brief prayer. Lord, thank you for the opportunity of this day, the many blessings that you bestow upon us. May we use those blessings and your infinite knowledge and wisdom as that you are in control, and that we make the best decisions we can on behalf of the public that we serve. Be with all as we prepare and move into the joyous holiday season of the birth of your Son. In your name we pray. Amen. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Zoller?
Here.
Commissioner Herschel?
Here.
We'll have the signing of the journal, and I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio recording of the previous board session of Thursday, December 8th, and the index.
Make a motion, we approve it as outlined.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved, thank you very much. Do we have any adjustments to the printed agenda? Anything that we should get added so we don't forget? Anybody got anything? Oh, okay.
Just, just a brief update, where do we stand at with the museum director? Is that,
All right, I'll add that.
or does that need to go in executive session? Is that to deal with?
Depends how much you want to know. I'll put it in old business at this point.
Okay.
Right, no further adjustments? Okay, let's begin with the old business, and we'll start with that one. We are working through agreeable terms with the candidate of choice, and so we have nothing to announce at this point until we get an acceptance. And it, like I said, if you want
You
to.
have been in contact in negotiation, is that correct? Okay.
Justice Center update?
Well, we have the same as we had last time. If you look at the site, you will see the partition or the windbreaker around the tower that's being erected, so something's finally coming out of the ground. Once those elevator towers are done, the steel comes in and away we go. So we're looking forward to seeing something spring out of the ground here soon.
Indeed, we had a meeting on Thursday last week, that's when I had the update, so the update was for that. I should
We would expect another update on Thursday to be posted on the
Yeah.
Commissioner's website, the county website.
Okay. Job and Family Services, I think Kathy was in last week, and I think you can cover that, Stace, what she had.
Yeah.
Well, she was here for we didn't bring her any questions to her.
Yeah, she actually came in, I didn't see her come in. We had discussed a transfer that they had requested to their foster children care line that the general fund usually, and we call it front load. It's, after talking to Kathy, they haven't used that full amount for building repairs. They have used that amount to sustain their budgets and their carryover. They did ask us a couple years ago specifically for the purpose of improving their buildings, in which they did. When I talked to her before, that's what I was under the understanding she was gonna use this amount for. But what she had told me was that basically they use that to keep their balance even. What they've had over the last few years, they had $1 million carryover in 13, 974 in 14, 932 in 15, and they're currently sitting at 824 right now. Last year we had set aside 150 to give to them, and we did not transfer anything in 2015. And I guess as of current, you can tell they are down a little bit. They do a wonderful job with that foster care. She said they like to keep their carryover up because if they have 1 or 2 bad cases, then the county is liable for 100% of that. We haven't had that in a while, knock on wood. I asked her to get carryover numbers, and she did that, and she gave me the different expenses that they use that for. But at least it cleared it up. I didn't have a lot of details when she had asked. So in the budget that we passed in 16, we did set 150 aside, which she thought was 250. We only set 150 aside. In the budget's looking at 17.
150 aside specifically for building improvements?
Nope, specifically for foster care.
Okay.
To transfer to them. So, but,
And that's the carryover they have in that fund is 850,000?
yeah, where they're sitting at current, so she did show me it's slowly decreasing because we used to give them quite a bit of funding, you know, it used to be $800,000-900,000 a year, And we've just slowly reduced it because they keep their costs under control.
I've been very efficient with it, okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about what specific options we have. What could we do? What are the, give me 3 things we can do with the money.
Well, the 150 we have current, we can give to them and they will set aside in their carryover for future expenses.
So that would add to their 8,
Yes, that would
Okay.
add.
Get them up to the million,
Yep.
which is what they
What's it under
kind
here?
of like to carry there.
That is under the very last, under public assistance,
Okay.
the contract services foster children.
okay, go ahead, so that's option 1.
Option 1, we can give them the 150, they can put it in there. Option 2, I guess we can reduce that amount, give them something more, what we feel reasonable, that since it's not decreasing a lot, it is decreasing, we can change that amount, or we can decide not to fund that this year, not give them any set aside.
This is like GoFundMe. Okay, now, you said that as of November 30th, it was 834, 8 what?
824,
824.
yep.
Okay, so do we have any idea on a monthly basis what accrues into that? Because at the end of 2015 was how much?
End of 15, 932.
Okay,
Let's see.
It went down about $1 million, or about 100,000.
Yeah. Let me see if she shows me monthly.
I'm just trying to remember where they might be at the end of the year. What are the odds? What are they probably gonna be?
They're probably about 800,000.
So they'll
Yeah,
actually
this is-
use some of that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so if we fund it to the tune of 850, we're basically getting them back to where they were at the end of 15.
No, 150.
Not
Mike.
850.
150.
I know what you
We
meant.
fund it to 150, we're getting them back to where they were basically at the end of 15.
Yes. And we do have money in that line to do that. But what caught our attention when she brought it in is she thought we set aside 250. And I said, no, in our budgets last year, we were kind of adjusting things knowing that their carryover was okay. And
Well, in support of Kathy, what was she gonna ask for when she was here, do we know?
150.
Okay, so she was gonna come in and ask for the 150.
Yep, and I didn't even see her come in. She sat behind the door. I called her, apologized to her, told her I would bring it up today.
And I do think, like I said, them being prepared and their very efficient job of managing the funds over the years is to be commended. And I think although they hadn't had to utilize it, you know, with this opiate epidemic,
Yeah.
stuff going on, I mean, that the writing's on the wall we need to be prepared. And we can, you know, it's kind of a, you know, a bit of the insurance fund that is why she's asking, and because it's, you know, the impact of children is the trickle down and the worst spin-off of effect on the kids.
Well, here's my thought about that, since we're in the middle of the budget process. Hopefully this is logical. We're talking about some of the requests that some of the elected officials have made, that we won't approve as part of the budget, but may be able to do with part of our carryover.
Okay?
Some of those things are immediate needs, according to the elected officials. What if we funded that to the tune of 100,000? And we had that additional 50,000 that we could use, and we determined that we've got about 42 right now to get us to a break even. So if we had 90, that would give us a lot more room to approve some of the things that the elected officials wanted, knowing that if this thing would get to the point, as Commissioner Stacy said, that there's some need to fund some drug education money or some families because they've got involved with some drug problems, that we would have that would be more of a proper use of carryover to me than would be regular anticipated monthly expense of some of the elected officials. So my thought here might be to fund that to the tune of 100, understanding that there may be some need to augment that line in the future, and she shouldn't be hesitant to ask us for that later on. But for now, we could fund some of the requests of the elected officials and make this more of a contingency than those things.
The proposed budget already has it as 100,000, so I don't know if they,
Oh,
For next year.
I'm sorry, I thought you said 150.
150 is what we
We
had
had
set
it.
aside for this year.
this year.
So you've got 100 in it for next year?
Yeah.
As opposed to 150.
So it's not gonna give us that increase towards other things, but it's a matter of we keep it at 100,000.
Okay. Well,
So
I mean, so I can, we can prepare a resolution for next week, we can do the 150 is in the budget currently, we didn't touch it. It would roll over into carryover if we don't use it, and it would just stay in the general fund, or, you know, we could do 100, and,
The 150 would roll into carryover.
That's a 16.
yes, it goes back in, yep, because it's already a 16 expense, we already,
And they didn't touch it.
and they did, yeah,
Well, rather than, okay, well, I guess I'm not, rather than have an additional expenditure for 2017 at 100, since that's gonna roll into carryover, couldn't we roll that into their account rather than take it as carryover, and their account would be higher, and it wouldn't be an expense in 17?
we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, because you're saying their carryover right now is 825, and once we put the 150 in there that was in 16, that'd get them back up to $1 million. If we give them another 100,000, that'd give them 1.1
Well,
million.
under the current situation, that 150 would just roll into carryover for the entire county, not for them.
Right.
Right.
But what I'm proposing is we take the 150 that rolls over and put it into that account, and then strike the expense line of 100 for
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah, because
Or is it-
their
or is it-
carryover's 800,000,
It would take it
8.4.
975, it would take them to 975.
Yeah.
Or is it cleaner by all of the transfer of monies to put that back in our carryover and fund their line at 150?
No, I mean,
I would-
it's in the expense, it would be
Okay.
easier just to go ahead and give that to them, and,
Let them keep that, and then like I said, we
And
don't.
strike it for 17.
So they're
strike
getting the
it out.
best, I mean, they're getting the best of all worlds. Instead of getting 100,000 put in for 17, they're getting 150, which was already appropriated. So she's getting her request, basically. We then have some leadway as to some of the contingencies that the elected officials have requested. Not saying we're gonna use it, but that we at least got some leadway for that money. Okay, that sure makes a lot of sense.
And that
Yeah,
makes
and-
sense to me.
and if she feels that her fund is getting, if something happens next year, we'll just have her come in and,
That gets her up to $1 million, which is kind of, was the level that
Well, the
Pierce
key
likes
is,
it to
right,
be.
the key is that Job and Family Services under Mrs. Oliver has been extremely efficient in handling this foster care money. And we, you know, I personally appreciate that. We talked about it last year, and we'll give her kudos. So what we're able to do is give her the entire 150 request by doing this.
yeah.
And then obviously it'll be a topic for next year, but, you know, our thanks go out to her for being that efficient and allows us to do some things in the county that may be necessary.
Yeah, just as an example, I'll give you 2009, we were giving them 785,000.
Sure.
Their carryover was at 1.5. That's when we started looking at, hey, the general fund's hurting a little bit, so they took it down to 600, we reduced it to 500. 2012, we took it down to 250. Took their carryover down to about 580, so, but they've got it brought back up.
Isn't part of that because of the fact that some of the courts have decided that a relative or a kin
Yeah, they use
would
the
be a
kinship
lot less
program.
expensive? And that has a result there too?
Yep,
Yeah, and the kinship program is paid by the feds, not by the county.
but that's the state program,
Yeah,
State
okay.
program, yeah.
State pays it, not the county.
yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I do.
I'm sure
know.
that we've got a portion of that payment, but,
Okay, good.
okay, we'll get that prepared for the next board session.
Okay, anytime you can find another couple of 150s, let us know.
Okay.
That gives us a little breathing room.
Move on to new business. I'm assuming there's no other old business?
New business, okay. I have a supplement to the permit appropriation to the Workforce Investment Act Fund. She's putting $103,394.02 into their shared cost. I have a supplement to the permit appropriations to the Public Assistance Fund. She's putting $40,000 into her public assistance line. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund. This is at the request of, I think it's Common Pleas 1, at the bottom of the sheet said Common Pleas 2. So it's Common Pleas 1. They're moving some funds around from their PRS line to, they have a 205 account and a 206 account. So they're moving some from their 05 to 06. For total move, $3,600. $754.66. And they're also asking for a supplement to the permanent appropriations for $988.79 into their PRS line. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the Indigent Guardianship Fund, putting $3,829 into their contract services line. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the DRETAC Fund. This is at the request of 107. That's either the prosecutor or the treasurer. She don't have that down here. Other expense.
Treasurer.
Damon, okay. Putting $13,500 into other expense.
Damon, he's high maintenance, isn't he?
He is. What to do with him?
Whatever here for help.
I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $780.50 from jury fees to contracts repairs.
Yeah, we just think we have the power of the purse. He has the power of the purse.
I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund. This is moving $266 from our insurance premiums lines to our bonds lines. This is must be to cover one of those elected officials and their bonds. And I have,
It'll probably go down once Fred leaves.
we don't have to have as much insurance on that.
Less risky.
And I have a resolution authorizing the table of organization and classification plan, Seneca County Board of Commissioners, effective January 3rd, 2017. This is, let me get all my sheets out, some reorganization we're doing in some various departments. John Crock, I worked with him to get the new job description, and it's not really a new job description for the ECHO unit. But adding that to our classification plan would be the 3 full-time paramedics. We did have to change one housekeeper because they had it down as a part-time. We changed it to a full-time. We've added the museum director position because that had been abolished years ago, so we had to add that back in. We also were looking at doing some job abolishment and some reorganization in the public safety, changing some titles around, changing some titles around. So I have all of those job description, positions descriptions, and letters ready to go to the departments that are currently under public safety to either accept or reject. And I think, having some conversations that they're okay with this, the changes. So it's just restructuring the area. So
We have a motion on resolutions as stated.
I'll move for approval.
Seconded.
Okay, questions, comments, and concerns? Let's begin with one comment. With the reorganization, it does, like I said, get things clarified back in the chart with positions the ECHO positions, the museum director position, and then just the new titles. And you said that new titles and adjustment to some responsibilities a little bit there too, based on the course of actions of stuff in the last little over a year. So that makes sense, and like I said, everything will be ready to roll, and we've had no additional feedback since we've reached out to those employees. So.
Nope.
Okay.
I must have had any of them wanted executive session to discuss anything, and they were okay with it.
Okay, any other comments or concerns?
Well, good.
All right, then call roll, please.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes. I'll stand approved. Thank you. All right, we are an opportunity for, if there's no further business of any kind, for public comment. This time, is there any public comments to be shared?
Good.
Tom?
Tom Bridebod, my name. We're talking about monies today. What's happening with the Chaplain Corps, or the old kiddie brink out there, where you was gonna pay utilities? Is that, where's that at?
Thanks for asking. We got the prosecutor's opinion, and without statutory authority, according to my understanding, we can't make a donation. What I asked him for is an opinion as to what, I understand we can't make a donation, but what happens if we waive the requirement for them to pay utilities as part of the lease? He wasn't absolutely certain of that. He was gonna get back to me on that. So, looking for another way to skin the cat, but I'm not sure that we found it.
Basically amendment to the lease.
Right, an amendment to the lease that just says we waive.
Short term.
Yeah.
It's just a short term issue.
And I don't know if that'll fly because it's just another way of saying we're donating money. So, I'm not certain what the opinion's gonna be.
Another
Hopefully,
question.
yes.
On the museum, I heard it mentioned there a little bit ago. Has there anything been settled about somebody managing that or running that, or what's happening?
The question Commissioner Zoller asked was about that fact that we've gone through the process of hiring a director, and that's not finalized yet. We're working with the candidate of choice on terms, so we have no announcement at this point, but we should soon.
It's taken a long time.
That's what it takes to do it right.
There was an interview process, and Holly formed a committee that was, who was the committee? You had somebody from Hayes?
Hayes Presidential Center of the Wood County Historical Center, an HR representative from a local manufacturer, myself, and who was my,
John
Detweiler.
John Detweiler from the chamber.
Yeah, very, very diverse, non-connected to our local institution that could be very, very impartial. I thought it was an excellent choice of committee. And there was 3 very good candidates, and as Holly said, there was a individual of choice, and now it's in negotiation, so.
Thank you on both questions.
Any other comments? All right. No further business, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion and we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Stand adjourned 10:28.